Hello everybody, my name is Plywood and this is going to be a marathon submission of A Bug's Life for Sony PlayStation, the any percent category, played on a PlayStation TV. This game was developed by Traveler's Tales, who would later go on to develop the Toy Story 2 licensed game, as well as the LEGO series. And for being a kids game, there's a lot of tricky platforming and some skips involved too. Harder than you would think. So here we go. Timing typically starts when you start the first level. And if you've never watched this movie before, basic plot is there's an ant colony and they are harassed by this gang of grasshoppers. They have to give them ransom of grain. And our protagonist Flick here accidentally loses that grain and must go on a quest to recruit some tough bugs to fight the grasshoppers, but those tough bugs end up being an incompetent circus troupe. So in that first level, we are supposed to do a tutorial sequence, but we don't need to do that. We just jump over the fence with a smartly timed jump, and we're over there. So this is a puzzle platformer through and through. You'll be noticing these seeds in the ground, and these seeds create different types of plants. We'll be seeing about 4 different types of plants throughout the run. Plants that launch us in some way, so mushrooms, hover plants, cannon plants. We also have leaf plants. Those are basically platforms. We can use those to climb up. There are also tokens that increase our berry power. So we throw berries to attack, and if we pick up a super berry, we'll do more damage. And finally, there is a token type, a plant type, that will give us a turret, a berry turret of sorts, which we'll be using later on in the run. Now, you don't always have to use these seeds. I try to avoid using them here if I can, like using that wall to get over rather than using the seed below in the pit. We'll be exploiting the geometry of various levels to get to places in an unintended way, at least what we'd imagine would be unintended. Very important that we do not save. Always have to mash right to make sure we say no to saving. So every 3 levels there's going to be a boss fight. Here's the first one, Thumper. You have to pick up a super berry to fight bosses. Try to get as close as possible when we're throwing the berries so there's less travel distance. That way we can throw more often. And whenever we finish a boss or other objectives that aren't just like get to the end of the level, I will exit out just so we don't have to watch the cutscene. It saves a bit of time throughout the run. Okay, so dandelion flight. I'm going to use this dandelion to propel ourselves across this riverbed. Very important that we use the berries here. These dragonflies can get in the way, and if they do, we're in big trouble, because if they hit us, we'll fall, and then a bird will come and eat us, and we'll lose a life. You get 5 lives, and if you lose all your lives, it's game over. Go back to the title screen. Do not collect go. Do not collect $200. But we won't be at much risk for that, and even when you die in levels, it's not that big of a deal. It's only a problem on level 14 specifically. We'll get to that later. So level 5, if you've ever played this game casually, you'll know that this level is pretty rough. And that's no different in the speedrun. A lot of challenging jumps, some luck elements with these bugs since we can't really control how they move, and seed bombs. Very nice. So that is a tough jump to do. There's a slight incline and elevation on the floor that we can use to get up and just barely get over that cliff. You'll see I'll do this butt bounce or abdomen bounce if you're being really specific about ants. That extends our air time, so if we do it at the height of our jump, we'll be able to keep on going forward at that height pretty useful. Hopefully this boll weevil gets out of our way. Pick up this token. We need these 2 leaf tokens. But that's all we're going to use, actually. You're supposed to pick up 4, but we're going to use the power of physics and geometry in this game to our advantage. Bring up this token, this seed, this leaf token, into this corner. There's a slight incline there. And we get over the cliff like that. Got to be aware of those pits. If you fall in those pits, that's an automatic death. Now these seed bombs are trying to get in our way. Hopefully they don't, but you have to factor that in, that they could get in your way. Pick up this seed and do a jump that really shouldn't work, but it does. Oh, seed bomb launched me into it. So it's just a timing thing, and it's a really specific timing to get this. Could take a moment, but eventually you get it. You just have to hit it at a certain point in his jump, and you'll be able to get over the cliff edge. That's level 5. Definitely one of the hardest levels in the game, and hardest to optimize due to a lot of tricky jumping. So here's the bird. Gotta get to the top and get our super berry on. Gonna hug the wall here. Pick up this super berry in the corner and go to town. Now if you fall right here, it's not a big deal because there is a hover flower that we can use to get back up. But obviously falling is a no-go. It is slower, of course. Okay, city entrance. So we're heading into the city to find the circus troupe, and this level has a skip in it. You want to collect 20 grain. The game intends you to collect 30 grain because you need to go through these 10 grain checkpoints of 10, 20, and 30. But with a very good jump, you can actually skip the 30 grain door and only pick up 20 grain. Now the routing here is a bit flexible because depending on where these bugs are, I might not go for them, I might skip them. Get this taxi cab bug and jump over this goop, go through the door. Pretty good timing. It's pretty challenging picking up this grain. It's a very small 2D element, so it's quite easy to miss potentially. Hit that buggy. Pick up that grain. You gotta be careful too, because it will eventually disappear, the grain, so you definitely don't want to do that if it's from a bug. Jump over there. And now we have all the grain we need. So yeah, this little skip here, we need to hit the peak of our jump and butt stomp at the right time. Just a little bit before we hit the door. So here we go. Jump off this card. There we go. He says we need more grain. Don't listen to him. He doesn't understand. I understand fully that... Hey, I need to talk to you. Oh, boy. Stick bugs. They are actually pretty thin. It's hard to hit them. Alright, so level 8 is a little less technical. A lot less going on. Hopefully we can get this flick trick, as I like to call it. Nice. So you have to just flick to the left just for a brief moment so you don't run into the cardboard there and maintain your momentum. And now we're doing dialogue skipping. Pretty important trick to save time here. Just press start twice once they start talking. If you do want to hear them talk, I do recommend watching the movie instead, not the speedrun. You can do it pretty quick as long as you know the gap between each dialogue. Nice. That is the tough cardboard jump. Probably the toughest jump in this whole stage. And we jump off that corner there. Thankfully, that corner jump is a lot easier than some of the jumps we had to do in level 5. Now, you'll notice that I sometimes just butt stomp randomly as I'm going off of an object. The reason I do that is in case a bug gets in my travel path, because you don't want to get hit. Usually it's just a waste of time. Alright, so here's the bug bar. Do a nice little trick here to pick up the gold berry by using the exterior wall, and we can bounce ourselves to it much faster than picking up the super berry on the other side of the can, and also safer because we're not having to interact with these objects quite as much. And at this point, we just run in the middle, back and forth, and hit Thug. Just got to have some situational awareness of where these objects are as they're flying back and forth. Not too hard, really, once you get used to it, but at first it's a bit disorienting. Okay. Clover Forest has a glitch at the very start that we'll be attempting to go for. If we don't get it, it's not a big deal.
This is gonna work.
But we're gonna try and jump into Manny the Mantis. Oh, that's not good. That's alright, though. Let's try again. There we go. Now we got the jump on the corner. Let's see if we got it. We didn't. So, if you maintain flick in the air while the fade out's happening, you can skip this scene and you can move while this scene's happening, which means you can pick this up after that whole scene plays and then run forward. Again, not a huge deal if you don't get it. It's, you know, you lose like 7 seconds. Not a big whoop, honestly. Okay. Climb up the corner here. Gonna be seeing a lot of abuse of corners here. Remember to take geometry class, kids. It'll help you in 1998 Disney speedruns. Just like that. We got the tokens we need to go pick up the cannon plant. Clever use of this spawner. Pick up this seed. Bring it over here. That way, we can use it in the same position. Pick up that token, and now we can use the cannon plant. Which can be a little weird to use, honestly. It's kind of easy to miss this. Thankfully we got it. Butt stomp to hopefully hit this mosquito. Didn't, that's fine, he didn't hit us. And now we're going to try to skip using our circus troupe friends by jumping into the last piece. Now you can have them get the piece for you, however that is much slower. Teaching you the lesson that sometimes it's just better to do things on your own. When you can rely on yourself to go faster, do it. So.
Just need to get to the burn.
Alright, so this is the tree. We are going to use this route to climb the tree rather than using the spiral. Go along the corner and get up the route like that. What you're supposed to do is go around and sort of spiral up, but it's a nice little shortcut thanks to the corner of the route. We need to pick up all these blueberry scouts as we climb up the tree. This is definitely one of the trickier levels in the game, especially in a marathon setting, because a mistake here, especially when you get to the top of the tree, you can get knocked off by these mosquitoes or acorns. So you gotta be careful to make sure that does not happen. If you do fall, it's not the worst thing in the world. What you do is just hug the tree as well as you can and land somewhere along the tree, because you really don't want to fall to the bottom. And the gravity is so slow in this game that you could definitely land back on the tree. Now, you might be saying, Plywood, you should be skipping this dialogue. But friend, that's wrong, because it's tied to an animation, so skipping the dialogue here doesn't actually give us any benefit. Good time for donations as we watch this animation over and over again. I pick up that super berry just in case these mosquitoes give me trouble. I don't want any trouble, sirs. Sir bugs. Let me just jump from these vines, avoid the acorn as well as we can, and stick to the root. I could jump to cut the corner, but it's a little too dangerous for my taste.
Blueberry power.
Tim, give Ant a lift.
So it's worthwhile mentioning that some people may think blue ants are a figment of the animator's imagination. There's no such thing as a blue ant, but you are incorrect. There is such a thing as a blue ant. It's called Polyrhacus cyaniventris, and it's found in the Philippines. Just want to throw that out there, an ant fact for all you at home. Okay, so here's Molt. He is not much of a threat, but our friends, the ant colony, are. Throw the seed up here. Pick up that token so we can upgrade our berry. And then super berry. Avoid the red berries. We don't need that. And this is just a matter of timing as he stands up from his recovery animation. And we're standing in a very good spot here because there's a little roof above us so the red berries won't hit us. And it's just a simple matter of timing out your throws to his animation depending on how far he is. And he's donezo. Sorry, Molt. As polite as you are, we have to move on. Alright, Anthill Part 2. Full disclosure, I've never actually done this stage as intended. I've always done it the speedrun way. So I don't even know how you do this puzzle. With tuck and roll there, you need to make sure you time your jump properly because they jump when you jump. So you need to commit to your jump there to make sure they launch you up to that token. We got to collect these leaf tokens. So we can do something a bit cheesy, but fun. Change that. And pick up that token so we can get a berry shooter. And yet another corner to jump on, just like that. Fun corner jumps. Flick, stop bouncing into the seed. I need you to pick this up. So we're gonna abuse the elevation of this rock to get just in the right spot. And then I'm going to look up. I'm going to try to follow Hopper here. The first two hits are the tricky ones. Then he loses height. You have to hit him 9 times. And then he'll let go of Ada, our princess, the ant colony. So, cool little trick to skip the majority of the level there. Okay, riverbed flight. So this was the level I was mentioning earlier that it's very dangerous we die on, because if you die, you spawn right at the start, which is bad news. You pretty much have to go back to the stage select and try again. The reason for this is the grain actually speeds you up, and not having the grain if you die is a big problem, so it's best to just try again. So you gotta make sure to fly at the proper times to avoid all the objects in your way and the bugs. The bugs can be a real hassle on this stage. Just have to know where they can be and where they spawn. And you may think, oh, it's just a pebble or a feather, but no. If you run into some of these objects, you'll lose all your momentum. And what can happen is a downward spiral effect where Hopper's right behind you. He just keeps on hitting you over and over again. Not fun. So you just got to be careful. See, he's right there. Thankfully, I didn't take too much damage. I think I only took one hit, but this is one of the more risky stages. You just fly more. Even though flying is a little bit slower, it's safer to fly over objects if you can help it. Okay, so level 15 has some of the most technical platforming in the entire run. It's the final level. Very slippery, narrow platforms. This is the one you really don't want to mess up. There we go. Then... okay. Nice, so if we can get onto that ledge, we get a better line going into this opening. The super berry is, like, really tough. It's very easy to fall. You gotta be prepared for that jump. So, as we enter this second area, there's certain spots where Hopper can get hurt, and he has to travel to those spots. I'm going to focus here to make sure I don't fall. Nice. Right here, I'm going to just kind of throw at the edge and wait for a flick to eventually hit Hopper, just because it makes things a little bit easier. But the closer you are, the more likely you are to hit Hopper. Thankfully, if you do fall, like right here, there is a backup with a mushroom that'll give you enough height to hit him. But that was a very good area too, if I do say so myself. So now we have to climb the hill, make this grasshopper bird food. Again, just have to wait for him to get to the predetermined points and throw those super berries. Smart use of where to jump to make sure we don't lag behind too much. There's certain spots in this hill that have like a lower dip, and that's where I try to jump so I can just barely get over. Now we're at the nest. So we just kind of spin around in a circle and follow Hopper. And I think we're going to get a no-death run here. And that is time. 22-26. Well, with timing from a reset, that is a pretty good run, if I do say so myself. I think without that reset timing, that would have been a 21. So, pretty good. Congratulations, game complete. So, I want to thank you all for watching this marathon submission. I hope I explained the game pretty well. I consider this game a lot of fun. I was actually introduced to this game a couple years ago. I did not play this game as a child, but it's fast, it's furious, it's got some tricky platforming, some cool skips with the physics in the game, the geometry. And if you like saying, oh yeah, nice one, yeah, well, folks, I gotta say, this might be the game for you. So thank you all for watching, thank you for your consideration, and I'll see you next time.